So yesterday was one of those days where I sat down to just look at a couple of videos and see what I could find. And then I bumped into something that I had played a long time ago, which is Matt's Funk. I have never really transcribed the solos, so yesterday, after hearing it again, I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty awesome. So I sat down and started transcribing it. And in doing so, I came across this insane, absolutely insane diminished lick or symmetric dominant lick. Now, we talked about the symmetric dominant scale last week or a couple of weeks ago. This lick really ties in with that. It's not so much of a scale approach. This is an arpeggio-based approach of that same scale. He's switching between different arpeggios in that lick to create some movement and to create some color. It just works really, really nicely. A big warning, this tutorial is not for a beginner guitar player. So this tutorial is for more advanced players. So let's get into it. I'll play it for you first, and then we'll start to analyze it and see what's really happening. Now let's get into this. Now, first of all, I am interested in what you think is an insane blues lick. So go to the comments below and let me know which blues lick you think is insane. The first part of the lick is played like this. Here we go. Now, what is happening there? So first of all, he starts off with a G sharp half diminished arpeggio. And in case you were wondering, I will have the tablature for this lesson and eventually also the full tablature for that solo on my Patreon page. So here we go. So, and that starts on G sharp on the D string with your index finger. Then the next part of the lick is a B diminished triad. Now this is a thing that I think he uses a lot, and that is the string skipping thing. And so that is 7 to 10 on E and then 10 to 7 on G. But it does just create that B diminished triad. So there you already have some movement going from G sharp half diminished to that B diminished triad. Then you stay there. So this is the same thing. It's just sort of spread out. And then you get the following part. And to me, that is D7. So that's a D7 triad. So he's playing D7 over B7. Now, the interesting part about playing D7 over B7, once you start using the symmetric scales, is that anything that you play that sounds good, you can play it usually up a minor third, right? So if you have that first, right, at least if it's part of the scale. So this is B7, go up a minor third. Oh. Right? Then you land on the D7. So those two, you can switch between them, even though you're still just playing over that B7 vamp. So that's good to know. So we got that D7 thing. Then you get a little bit of, I think I analyze it as B7 sharp 9. And then we go into a more interesting part, which is playing an F7 dominant, so F7 arpeggio, and that's again a minor third up from D. And then moving to D, D triad, D major triad. So. And the funny thing is that you could just play between those two and have a great time. It sounds awesome. Now after that, he moves from that D triad to A flat major. So A flat is again a minor third up from F, right? So basically he's going from B, he's using B, D, F, and now A flat. Right? So he has coming from that D major triad, then A flat major, then back to D major, back to A flat major, then back to D major, back to A flat major, and then what I think is sort of a B blues lick. Right? So that's sort of a blues scale-ish lick. But you can see this one in the symmetric dominant scale too, with the exception, by the way, of this note, which is a fourth, and you wouldn't find that in your symmetric scale. Anyway, so let's do this once more. So we got the first one. So that's half diminished, G sharp half diminished. B diminished, still, then B7, sharp 9. The things that I'm taking away from this lick is the movements between the different arpeggios. Now, if you want to really know which arpeggios are all in these kinds of scales, then check out Rick Beato's channel. He's done a really in-depth tutorial on it, and there's not really much use for me to repeat just what he said. So you definitely should check that out. But what I'm taking away from this is that moving between that D and A flat major just sounds phenomenal on that chord. And the other thing that I thought sounded really well was between F7 and D7, or F7 and D major. And that's another thing that's good to know. So even though we're using like D major triad and A flat major triad, you could make those dominant arpeggios as well. So that movement is something that you could try to practice. Just put on a backing track, start playing along, and try it out. You know, first make sure that you sort of know the scale, then make sure that you can see all those triads within that scale, and then just start having some fun. If you're interested in the tab for that Matt's Funk tune, then make sure to check out my Patreon page. The PDF for this lesson is already available there. The full transcription will come later. Also, please leave me a comment below and let me know which blues licks you think are like out of this world. That's it for today, and we'll hope to see you again sometime.